Welcome in to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, I mean always, he means always, they mean always, you mean always, she means always, an instant classic.
Danny Dunn! Hi, Jake.
We will see you on the flippity dippity. Oh yeah.
Okay, what is going on, everybody? And this is your boy Juggernaut 097, and I am back here with Juggernaut Retro Reviews. And this is episode number 35 of Juggernaut Retro Reviews. And it's that time of season again. It is WrestleMania season. We are just a few weeks away from WrestleMania. Not next Saturday, but the Saturday after that, April 1st, is the first night of WrestleMania. So we're just a few weeks away from Mania. So I go like, you know what? How about I go ahead and review some old WrestleManias that I haven't reviewed on here yet? Which I'm going to be making a playlist of all the WrestleManias I have reviewed. So if you guys want a WrestleMania reviewed, go down in the comments. You know, if I haven't reviewed it, or if, because there are some WrestleManias that I did on the channel but I wasn't a part of because it was with the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast. Which, by the way, go check out the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast. You know, there were a few episodes I didn't do, but if you want to see me do them, I can redo those and, you know, do it by myself here on my channel. But yeah, you know, I thought, you know, I might as well review some WrestleManias here. And might as well start off with the first WrestleMania, which was held on March 31st, 1985 in New York City at Madison Square Garden, which the attendance for the show was 19,121. This was the first WrestleMania, you know, a lot of historic things going on. You know, this was going to see if the WWF was going to succeed or if the WWF was going to fail. So this was you know, they put their eggs all into one basket here. You know, this was being the first ever time on closed circuit television, on pay-per-view. So, you know, a lot of historical things going on. It's kind of crazy to see how much WrestleMania has evolved. You know, you go to look at more modern WrestleManias. Like, a lot of these matches you wouldn't see on modern WrestleManias. Like, if we got these on WrestleManias like today, fans will be pissed, you know, getting these really, really short matches. Because there was a lot of short matches. Like, this show was a breeze to sit through. But it wasn't, like, really any great wrestling at all. But, you know, it was cool seeing some moments. And, you know, it felt like a dark show. You know, the lights down low, you know, not very, you know, not, it's supposed to be the grandest stage of them all. And, you know, this is how the grand stage of them all. And you look how it evolved, which is crazy. It's really crazy to see how it's evolved, but enough wasted time. Let's go ahead and get started with this WrestleMania review. So the show kicked off. Also we had, you know, the commentary that we have for the show was Jesse the Body Ventura and it was Jesse the Body Ventura and I'm trying to think of the and Gorilla Monsoon. I couldn't think who else it was. And then we also had Howard Finkel, you know, on doing ring announcing. And then we also had Lord Alfred Hayes, which, you know, he's had a lot of history in TV and stuff, which is kind of weird. They had him like at the, like where the entrance ramp was, which it kind of conflicted when wrestlers came out. Like they came out like right in front of him, which why they had to put him there, I have no idea why they put him at the top of the stage. Because there were some promos that he was doing which was very awkward, or like some interviews that were very awkward. Like, for all the history he had in TV, is like he stuttered quite a bit. He seemed very uncomfortable on television and stuff, or like WrestleMania here. So, I don't know. He just didn't seem very comfortable. But the first match that we started off with was Tito Santana versus the Executioner. Really short match here. The Executioner, which is I'm trying to think of what his name was. Playboy Buddy Rose. That's his name. Yeah. that was his name in other promotions and stuff. And apparently they wanted to have Playboy Buddy Rose, but they didn't want to have him lose out of WrestleMania. So they decided to put him under a mask. And it was kind of weird, that promo that he was doing before, like an interview that he was doing before. He was kind of stuttering his words, talking about Tito Santana. Said that he was going to take out his legs, work on his legs, like Greg the Hammer Valentine was doing to Tito Santana, because Tito Santana and Greg the Hammer Valentine, they've been feuding or having some matches and stuff. And the Executioner, during this match, he was doing everything that I said he was going to do. He was working on his leg a little bit. But Tito Santana did end up winning the match by a figure four, which the Executioner, he was just like doing, most dramatic tapping out to the figure four leg lock. So, I mean, it was not a very good match. I'll probably give that match like half a star. Nothing really there. I mean, it was a competent match, but like I said, nothing like 5-star Matt classics, nothing like this on these first few WrestleManias. Excuse me. Yeah, not very good stuff here. I wasn't the biggest fan of this match. I mean, but it wasn't bad though. Got about 5 minutes. That's all this match got. And then the next match we had was King Kong Bundy going up against Special Delivery SDJ. Special Delivery. This is the first ever squash match we got at WrestleMania, which of course we will get plenty of more squash matches at Mania. But yeah, King Kong Bundy, he splashed him at SDJ in the corner a few times, and then did a splash on him in the ring, and then got the 1-2-3, which the commentary or like the announcers were saying that the match ended in 11 seconds. But if you do from when the bell rang, it actually ended in 25 seconds. So I don't know if they got something wrong or like if they got confused or something. But yeah, if you set like a timer, it actually ended in 25 seconds. Which, a few years later, in 2008 at WrestleMania 24, that record would be broken when Kane beat Chavo Guerrero in like, what's it, 4 seconds? Something like it was really, really easy win for Kane against Chavo Guerrero. That was at WrestleMania 24. But yeah, I mean, King Kong Bundy, squash match here, and then the next year's WrestleMania, he would go on to face Hulk Hogan in a steel cage match. So then, that's quite an upgrade from being, in a jobber match to being, in the main event in a steel cage. So he's made quite an upgrade from 1 year later. And then the next match we had was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat going up against Matt Bourne, which Matt Bourne will later on become the first Doink the Clown. So, if you guys want to go check out Matt Bourne before he came Doink the Clown, go check out WrestleMania. Go check out the first ever WrestleMania here. And Matt Bourne, he kind of looked like your typical 80s wrestler. Your typical 80s wrestler. With the blonde hair, with the beard, with the not shaved chest. Kind of, your prototype of a 80s wrestler at this time. And Ricky Dragon Steamboat, he looked like he was made out of granite. He was looking so good. Ricky Dragon would end up getting the win. I think this was probably the best match that happened so far, even though it was really short. Like I said, Ricky Dragon looked really good. He hit a crossbody onto Matt Bourne to get a 1-2-3. There's not really nothing else to say about this match. And then the next match we had was Brutus the Beefcake going up against David Sammartino, which this was the longest match so far on the card. It was 11 minutes and 43 seconds. And of course we had David Sammartino's father with him, Bruno Sammartino, which when Bruno Sammartino and David Sammartino came out to the ring, they got a big pop, which is mainly more for Bruno, because Bruno is more known. So, David had more of a kind of uphill battle trying to get over with the crowd. But I mean, this was a decent match, nothing crazy. This match ended up in a double disqualification. When everything started breaking down towards the end, we had Bruno get involved. We had Luscious Johnny get involved. It was just breaking down towards the end. It was nuts. And then they threw off the match here. So really nobody it was kind of hard for anybody to get over when, it ended in a double disqualification. So, I mean, yeah. I hate when matches end like on disqualification or count out on pay-per-views, but we had these kind of weird finishes at this first WrestleMania. And then the next match we had was the WWF Intercontinental Championship. On the line, we had Junkyard Dog going up against Greg Valentine, which Greg Valentine was the current Intercontinental Champion. Not a bad match. I mean, Junkyard Dog, he was, I kind of like seeing some of his matches and stuff. It's unfortunate, he's never like really won a title in WWF. He should have won more. He really should have. I mean, we had Jimmy Hart getting involved in this match. Trying to cost JYD or Junkyard Dog, yeah, JYD, trying to cost a Junkyard Dog, but eventually Greg the Hammer Valentine would rake Junkyard Dog in the eyes and then roll him up, and then put Greg the Hammer Valentine would put his feet up on the ropes, did a dirty pin to get the 1, 2, 3. And then after the match, we had Tito Santana came out and told the ref, basically tattled on what Greg the Hammer Valentine did. And, the referee believed what Tito Santana was saying. So they restarted the match, but at this point in time, Greg the Hammer Valentine didn't want to get back in the ring, so he took a count out. He took a count out loss. So Junkyard Dog won the match, but he did not win the title because, titles can't change on disqualification or count out. So that was that. So still your Intercontinental Champion was Greg the Hammer Valentine. So like I said, I just don't like when matches end that way. And then next we had was the Tag Team Championship match for the WWF Tag Team Championships. We had Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov going up against U.S. Express, Barry Windham, and Mike Rotunda. And, during this time, for being from a different country, it's so easy to get heat because, doing your national anthem, doing the Russian national anthem, doing all that stuff. It's pretty easy to get over. And, being from Iran, it's easy to get some heat. Not easy to get over. It's easy to get heat on you. Of course, Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda, they were so over in this match. But ultimately, we begin new tag team champions here when Iron Sheik hit. I think he hit Barry Windham in the back with Kane. So, I mean, that was that. There was a lot of shenanigans going on, with Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov cheating. Typical heel stuff. And everybody was so behind Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda. When Barry Windham made the hot tag, he was getting so cheered. He was getting cheered a lot. So, I mean, hey. Cheering the U.S. guys. So, I mean, back in day, doing a U.S. versus, different country feud could get over. But in this day, it really doesn't work in this day and age. And then the next match we had was Career versus $15,000 Body Slam Challenge. $15,000 Body Slam Challenge. So, If Andre the Giant won, he will get $15,000 for body slamming Big John Studd. Now, if Big John Studd would win, then Andre the Giant would have to retire. Which at this point, Andre the Giant, he's still undefeated in his career. He's a top baby face. This is where the show kind of turned around a little bit, kind of got a little better. Your first big kind of like big marquee match. But in the end, Andre the Giant wound up hitting the body slam on Big John Studd because it wasn't time for Andre the Giant to retire. And it wasn't until a few years later where Andre the Giant would do his heel turn, for his first few months in WWF. He was working as a babyface. And Big John Studd, right now, I think it was at the 1989 Rumble where that's when Big John Studd won. So, Big John Studd wasn't really doing much right now, but like I said, in 1989, that's when he won the Rumble match. I guess it was an alright match. Nothing crazy. It's cool seeing Andre the Giant here, but he was doing some kicks to Big John Studd's legs in this match. Kind of loosening them up, getting ready to hit him with the body slam. So, alright match. And Andre the Giant, he really didn't care about the $15,000. He was like, I don't care. He did a excuse me. He said, he didn't really care about the $15,000. He can care less what happened to that. Probably, Bobby the Brain Heenan took the money and ran off, or something happened with the money got thrown up in the air, or something like that. So who knows what happened with that? But yeah, Andre the Giant won the match. And then the next match we had was the WWF Women's Championship. We had Wendy Rickner with Cyndi Lauper going up against Leilani Kai, and Leilani Kai was the WWF Women's Champion. Not really good women's wrestling during this time. We had a lot of orange drags, had a lot of snap mirrors, and seemed like a lot of hair pulling. It seems like they were really playing a lot during this match, which you look at a women's wrestling match now, it's so much better than what they were doing back then. But at least, it was cool to see him try. It was cool seeing him trying things on here. And we had a new women's champion in this match, with Wendy Rickner winning when Leilani Kai, she was going for a high crossbody off the top rope, and then Wendy Rickner, she reversed the pin. Well, yeah, she flipped the pin over, which it didn't look really good in my opinion. It did not look that good. It looked very sloppy there. But hey, we had 2 title changes happen on the show, which is cool. For first WrestleMania in history. They're making a lot of history on this show, so I guess we'll say that. And then the next match we had was the main event. We had a tag team match with Muhammad Ali and Pat Patterson as the special guest referees. So we had Hulk Hogan and Mr. T go up against Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper. So, there was a lot of hype going into this match. There was a lot of interviews, a lot of segments. We had Hulk Hogan on SNL with Mr. T. Hulk Hogan was the first wrestler to be on, or to host SNL at this time. Until a long time ago when the Rock later on brought on to SNL. That was cool. We had a lot of bad blood between Roddy Piper and Mr. T. They really hated each other at this time. Really going at it and stuff. But a long time down the road, they would eventually make up and stuff. They would eventually forgive each other. And then, of course, Muhammad Ali, he was the outside referee, and then Pat Patterson was he was the referee actually in the ring. So, which was good. A legend, a legend in the business, Pat Patterson, great Intercontinental Champion, great wrestler, Pat Patterson. Mr. T, he didn't actually look too bad in this match. For what he was doing, for being a non-worker, he was doing all right. Hitting some decent moves, going at it with Roddy Piper. Hulk Hogan, of course, being the babyface he is, getting cheered so much. You had a lot of fuckery going on at the end of this match here. With, Cowboy Bob Orton getting involved. Of course, we had Jimmy Snuka in the corner of Hogan and Mr. T. Snuka and Orton were going at it. But yeah, it all came down like at the end where everybody was like kind of in the ring, and Cowboy Bob Orton was going to go for a move on Hulk Hogan, but hit Paul Orndorff instead, and then Hulk Hogan pinned Paul Orndorff to get the 1-2-3. So the winners of the match were Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. I about said Paul Orndorff, but the winners of the match were Hogan and Mr. T. And that's how WrestleMania ended. The first ever WrestleMania. And, sent the crowd home happy, having the faces win. So I think it was a solid match here. Probably, I'll say this was the best match of the night. Regardless on what the wrestling was like. Just, you had the big, I'm not Hollywood Hogan, but you had the big Hulk Hogan here, Mr. T. Yeah, you had some pretty big names there. Pretty blockbuster, kind of like main event right here. But yeah, that was my WrestleMania 1 review. Like I said, if you have any suggestions on if you want to, like, what WrestleManias you want to see reviewed, go down in the comments below, tell me. And if you watch this WrestleMania, go down below, tell me your thoughts and opinions on this WrestleMania. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Excuse me. Did you like it? Did you hate it? But out of this one, I'll probably be reviewing the second WrestleMania. I'm going to review that one because that's one I didn't review. So stay tuned for that one. And then also, this is the first time ever checking out my channel. Hit that subscribe button. That really helped my channel out a lot because we're so close to 400 subscribers. So let's get to that 400 subscriber mark. And also turn on that, hit that notification bell to be notified every time I make a new video. So you don't have to wonder, like, oh, when's Juggernaut going to be making a new video? Well, you already know when I'm making a new video because you'll be notified. And also go follow me on all my social media platforms. Go follow me on Twitter at TheTrueJSB. Go follow me on Instagram at TheTrueJSB. Go subscribe to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, and I mean always, an instant classic. And like I said, I'm going to keep on reviewing some more WrestleManias here. This episode's coming up on Sunday, so probably Tuesday will be my WrestleMania 2 review. Like I said, if you have any suggestions on which other manias you want reviewed, or if I reviewed the mania and you want me to, or if I, haven't done it, or if it's already on here and you want me to do it again, I will. Just let me know down in the comments or message me on Twitter. But yeah, it's your boy Juggernaut saying peace out, and I'll catch you guys for my next video. So